You remember 5 years ago when I made a video about leaving MyAnimeList? Not only did that become my most viewed video on here, but it also became evergreen content. Now it's a nice little indicator of when Mal goes down or whenever they do something bad. Want to know what caused the most recent spike in views? They got sold by MediaDo to a Web3 company called Gaudiy. For those that don't know, Web3 is an ideology for the new iteration of the World Wide Web, which utilizes things like blockchain technology and AI generation for its infrastructure. So MyAnimeList is now owned by a company that uses generative AI and blockchains to build what they call fan nations. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Should we strap in for AI-generated database entries? ChatGPT form discussions? Stable Diffusion cover art? Or maybe we should get ready for a MyAnimeList crypto coin scam? We all thought that the AnimeTube Kickstarter scam was a bad situation, but this is probably going to be even worse because they took over one of the biggest anime websites that's currently active. This news was announced by MediaDo, the previous owners of MyAnimeList, as of March 26th, so despite any articles that came out on April 1st, this was no April Fool's prank. It's real. I'm not joking. All of their shares have already been sold to Gaudiy just in time for upcoming financial reports. They didn't say how much they sold Mal for, but MediaDo said they expected the impact of the sale to result in extraordinary gains by February 2026, to the tune of 531 million yen, most likely because MyAnimeList has been operating on a massive loss of hundreds of millions of yen for almost 4 years. So it probably wasn't that hard for Gaudiy to acquire MyAnimeList. Now let's talk about the ideology behind Gaudiy. According to their website, Gaudiy aims to create fan nations using Web3 ideology to resolve various bugs that exist in society. Our approach may seem reckless and full of bugs. However, it's difficult to solve all the large problems modern society has with a frontal approach. We are aiming to tackle those problems strategically that may seem full of bugs at first. We will continue to pursue challenges and maintain this way of being. Gaudiy's logo was designed to reflect the concept of a bug that challenges society's bugs. And I think that says a lot about their mindset of things in a not good way. Looking into what Gaudiy actually does isn't exactly helpful. They're a Japanese tech startup that was funded by a company called Global Brain in 2022. They apparently took all that investment money and began various joint projects with key businesses like Bandai Namco, Aniplex, and Sanrio. But it doesn't actually look like they've done or made anything except their own branding materials at this point. Gaudiy's proposed main project is something called FanLink, a Web3 platform that connects entertainment IPs with fans directly. The way their pitch deck describes it implies that FanLink is a social media app that sells AI-generated content as NFTs to fans. The trick here is Gaudiy wants to sell the NFTs to fans as officially sponsored events. Oh, and obviously all of this would be done via crypto wallets powered by an Ethereum blockchain. If you don't know what any of that sentence means, then God, I envy you. All you need to know is just like most of these Web3 startups, they haven't actually done anything yet. It sounds like they bought MyAnimeList to essentially convert it into FanLink over time. My guess is they'll start with a couple NFT collab events before adding a way for fans to generate NFTs that they can sell themselves on the site as well. Pretty soon after, it'll be a cesspit of AI slop and everyone will leave. And it probably won't take long for AI bots to take over the forums to make it look like everyone there loves NFTs. But this is all just my guess if they actually start making any changes. More likely, they just don't do anything to the site. They just put your user data through their AI training models, then they try to sell your data to other companies, and then they'll just sell the website again when none of that works out for them and they realize they're losing a bunch of money from this website. When I made my video years ago shitting on Mal, I didn't expect it to get many views or be taken seriously. I was just rambling about my frustrations with the thing, and over time, I'd occasionally get comments telling me how I'm just nitpicking and that no one cares about the points I made. The central point I was making being how MyAnimeList is managed by people who don't think they need to do anything since they were the first anime database website to get popular. And this idea just seems to get reinforced time and time again. No drive for meaningful changes, no need to update their 2007 website design, and their insane standard stop works like Scott Pilgrim Takes Off from being added to their database despite being made by Japanese studios like Science Saru. Mal did eventually fix their API at least, so I'll give them credit for that. But my main use for that these days is a script I made which converts Anime Planet backups into AniList imports. For some some reason, this process requires MyAnimeList IDs. Don't ask me why. But if you're somebody who's interested in that script, there's a link below. Even as someone who works in tech, I have nothing but disgust towards the current wave of Web3 business bros. So honestly, we better pray that they keep up with the Mal philosophy of not doing anything. But in the meantime, you should all move to AniList. It's very easy to move your anime data over there, the design is much better, the developers seem to care more about its maintenance, and it's a much better place for anime discussions. Remember how I complained about Mal's shitty April Fool's prank back in 2020? Well, in the wake of online discourse over making soulless Studio Ghibli AI art, the April Fool's prank at AniList was about how they had to start replacing covers for copyright reasons. So they asked all their community to submit their own art for titles they want to replace. What resulted was a sudden, massive community-driven event showcasing an expression of creative love for the anime and manga mediums. Most of it was just MS Paint art, and they all had far more charm to them than generative AI ever will. I don't even think that's what they meant to accomplish, but it just shows they understand how anime fans have fun. It's a prime example of the different philosophies that drive these two websites, which is why I think AniList is far superior to MyAnimeList. As I was working on this video, I was informed that AniList refused to list a title called Twins Hinahima because it primarily uses AI. Since MyAnimeList is listing the titles themselves though, they believe that means Mal is better for the future of anime since more works will be incorporating AI into their process over time. While this may be true with how technology grows and changes industries, and it will certainly spark more fierce debates in the future, the case of Twins Hinahima is more understandable to deny as anime. The lead anime data mod for AniList explains several reasons for why they decided not to include it in their database. First of all, the Twins Hinahima production team stated that they're using Stable Diffusion. That means all their generated works are based on a 5 billion entry database that's been scrapped from the whole internet, including copyright art from others that did not consent to their works being used for this process. And secondly, the production team has said the anime is 95% AI generated. It's the meme where they claim it was mostly AI generated and then touched up by artists afterwards, and then therefore that makes it more legitimate. AniList argues that if you said something was made 95% by an American studio, but then Japanese artists touched it up afterwards, then most anime fans would not consider that to be anime either, which is why they decided this shouldn't be anime, and I think it's a great point, honestly. Nearly all of the creative control behind Twins Hinahima is driven by AI decisions, and so therefore they wouldn't consider this to be a Japanese work, but an AI-generated work. That all being said, AniList isn't even against listing shows that use AI as part of its production. For example, The Dog and the Boy is listed on AniList, and that was an AI-assisted show from Wit Studio. So it seems like they're treating AI cases based on the percentage it contributed to the production, which I think is fair to do here. Maybe there's a discussion to be had about how we categorize AI-generated anime when it comes to these databases. But at that point, we're just getting into AI art debates, which I'm not going to fully dive into here, other than to say I don't like how they're typically trained on stolen works, and they usually look like shit doing that. I'm a tech guy, so I understand in time generative AI will get better, but it's always going to be difficult for it to understand the human creative soul. Maybe it'll be enough to appease marketing bros, but most people will feel like something is off and walk away. Meanwhile, for cases like Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which was undeniably a Japanese created work, MyAnimeList appears to have turned it down because it's based on a popular Western franchise and doesn't look anime enough to them. Anyways, MyAnimeList still sucks. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Subscribe if you care, and check out my weekly anime book club podcast where we read and discuss manga. Right now, we're finishing reading the Sailor Moon manga. It's been a very interesting time with that, and then we're going to be starting a vote for the next series we're going to read soon. Or you can go follow me on Twitch where I stream again regularly. I'm out here, ready to win this game. Let's go through the cave. I'm not supposed to go through this cave. I'm now discovering this is not a cave I'm supposed to go into. Alright, well, lessons learned. Right here. That's it. That's the sweet spot. Right there. Watch this. Watch this. Are you ready? Boom! Fuck, it's not in light. But I had it. It was not from my lack of thrusting. Nobody can ever doubt my thrusting skills. These days I've been streaming as a PNG tuber. Maybe in the future we'll have a live 2D VTuber debut. I don't know. We'll see. And hey, maybe I'll even find some time to finish some of the several new video scripts I started for this channel. You know, the one that I haven't uploaded to in a while. Yeah, life has been busy. Not too busy for Mal to get worse though.